Hey, Facebook, we are live. It is another Badass Truth Bomb Tuesday, and we're going to shake it up today because the title of today's is Dreaming Big is Bullshit. And here's the thing about that. Like, how many of us in this lifetime have been told, like, girl, you know you want it. You go get it. Dream bigger. Now dream even bigger. Now dream even bigger than that. And so we create this, like, massive dream in our minds of these, like, super hot bodies and these amazing cars and this like ridiculous beachside mansion and all of these things. And we get all pumped up and we put it all on a vision board. And then we wake up to our current reality. And you're like, I don't even know how I'm going to buy like dinner tonight, much less that fancy car. And I don't even have time to like pee and drink water most days. So I don't know how I'm going to have time to create that amazing body, right? Like there's such a gap. And what that does is it creates friggin' depression because you're like, this is what I want, but it's so far away from my current reality. Like just looking at it is depressing. I'm curious, you guys, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I know that was one of my hard things to do when I first started talking with my coach. Even it was like she was like, "Well, can you even dream or think of a life?" Which is thinking is actually dreaming. Most people don't know that. When you think of something that's not your current reality, that's dreaming. And it's like, can you imagine a year from now and you be 100 pounds down and off your medication and not in severe pain anymore? And I'm just like, nope. So that was my very first dream. You know, I didn't believe any of it until it happened. Mm-hmm. You do the work, and sometimes you have to put in the work before you believe in the dream.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like the flip perspective, right? Like my reality is such that I can't even dream about what that would look like. Yeah.
Or the worst case scenario is because I had dreamt for that for, because I really, really wanted it. Because I knew that by creating that realistic, or not, it wasn't even realistic to me, but by creating that life, it was like, oh man, all the things I could have. I could have a life where I'm off the couch and not asking people to babysit my kids for me because I can't get my butt off the couch. Right? So that was part of my dream. Not be a professional couch mom.
Yeah, I'm professional couch mom. Can I put that on the dream
couch
board?
Mom turned into coach mom. So that's what happened.
Oh, that's awesome. What about you, Megan? Have you had some experience or friends in your life that have had those humongous dreams and then there's that big disconnect?
Well, I think I did for the longest. Because you always think you're going to like have some kind of career or have some kind of, I think mine was a lot weight related for a long time. I have this idea in my head what I think I should look like or what I looked like when in my 20s because I thought I was pretty cute. But
I'm sure you were, girl. Most 20-year-olds are pretty damn cute, right?
True story. And then, you just have, and then it could just be even just getting married. You have that dream of married and financially stable and all that stuff. Or then like once you get married and then what? And sometimes I think you can have your dreams, but you get so caught in such a rut and you keep hitting the same wall. You keep hitting the same wall. And I think you become afraid to dream. I think sometimes it's scary to dream. And because it hurts, it's uncomfortable. It's easier I'll believe it when I see it. Mm-hmm. So, and I think Marcie, you're kind of like that, like when you're saying your goals, it's like, I got to see it first.
I'm the show me girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I could seriously live in the state of Missouri because their tagline would be my lifeline. Show me everything. I need proof, I'm just thinking about what you were saying, Megan, and how that relates to the American dream.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Have the beautiful house, have the picket fence, have the kids and the dogs and, all the things. And I'm like, okay, great. That can be your dream, but that's not what I want for my dream. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. And so that can throw a wheel in the cogwheel too, is like, or a wrench in the cogwheel, whatever that saying is. But like, if your dream doesn't live up to the expectation of other people's dreams for you.
Snap.
That's a big one. So I think we've hit on like 3 different subjects, right? Like the dream is too big and current reality is like, I'm never going to have that. So it's depressing. Or like somebody's encouraging you to dream big and you're like, I don't believe that that's possible. So I'm not even going to go there. Or like, this is the dream that somebody else has laid out for you and you're striving to achieve it the whole time, knowing that it's not really your dream. Like you've never been asked, like, what do you actually want? Do you actually like a picket fence and 2.5 dogs and 3 kids? Like, that's
not my dream.
Really?
I'm a farm girl that was raised in the city. That's what I am.
I was a farm girl raised on a farm, and I love the city. I'm the opposite. I live in the country now, but I love the city. I love it.
So funny.
It makes no sense.
I'm a farm girl with a little of both. I like the wide open spaces and I like the city too. So we're in the middle.
That is awesome. Yeah, my dream life that I'm building is one where I want a bigger house. I want to be the person, I want to turn into an entertainer. Like, not like where I'm, but like I can have people over my house, right? Like, I mean, I used to entertain people anyways, but that can go into a tangent. But as far as I want people to come to my house, I want to have room to fit everybody. I'm like, I want room that it's not standing room only. I want people to be comfortable. I want to have a big cookout area where everybody can go on a patio. And I'm just like picturing this all. And then I have this dream where I have this big rolling, beautiful property that has like all the animals of my dreams, the horses, the goats, all the chickens, and it's beautiful, and I still have the beach close by, and I still have the mountains that I can get to, and all the things. Yeah. And I'm free to travel wherever I want.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So here's where we get tripped up, right? With dreaming big is like, maybe we have one of those 3 issues. Like we've got the big dream, but like current reality says no, so it's depressing, or we don't know how to create the big dream that we actually want, or we buy into somebody else's big dream for ourselves, right? But either way, the concept of dream big, dream big, dream bigger, in general, for most of us is kind of bullshit, because what we need are tangible action steps. We need to break that big, huge dream down into something that is digestible, that's consumable, that's creatable. Otherwise, that big dream just sits there and current reality sits here and you're like, I don't even know what to do with it. Or you're sitting in current reality and you're thinking, not this, right? Like, I don't know what, but not this. So like, now what, right? It's that like proverbial rut. Like I achieved all the things, now what? And I definitely had that experience at one point in my life. I was going to be married and have the 2 kids and have the property and the big fancy house and the career that I loved. And I was there and I was miserable. I remember crying myself to sleep most nights thinking, why did I want any of this? Because I'm not happy. And like that was totally me. Like I had bought into somebody else's future for myself. And I had never really stopped to ask, like, well, is there a different future? Like, are there other choices? Like, I didn't really realize there were other choices. I thought you just got married and you had kids and you settled down in your forever home. And that was the end of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I can relate with.
Yeah.
Dreams are kind of like part of your identity, right? They can be.
So then that's another whole subject is the dream we're creating. Once you get it, it's like you have to be careful what you wish for sometimes. Because once you get it, like, I wanted to go more into nursing, but the more just from where I've seen and just I observe a lot of things, and just people don't listen to doctors, they don't listen to nurses, they just don't listen to health coaches, they don't listen to their spouses, they don't listen to themselves when they know better. And so that would bother me, because especially if you know what will help somebody, like in your heart, scientifically proved this will help you, and they won't do it. That just I don't know if I could do that and then have them come back to you and be like, well, I'm still sick.
They'll try to talk themselves out of it because surely it's too good to be true.
Well, that or just they don't do what they're supposed to do. Just, I mean, whether it, yeah, because I work with physician orders all day with stuff, and it's just hard when they're non-compliant.
Yeah.
It's hard.
For sure. Well, and that's the other piece I think of the dream big is what expectation are you placing on that big dream, right?
That's a story.
Because for me, I was like, once I get there, like when I arrive there and I have the dream, when everything on the dream board comes true, then I'll be happy. Then I will have made it.
Oh.
Then, right? It's like that if, then, when, then life. And the other problem with that is you get there and it doesn't match your expectation. And now you're like, well, what's the point of this stupid dream board? Like, I'm not happy. And the truth is we're not looking for what's actually on the dream board. We're looking for the feeling that we think it's going to give us. And so in terms of those big dreams, recognize that it's the feeling that you're actually after, right? Because you get that big fancy car, that big fancy truck or whatever it is, and you drive it for the first week, and a week later it becomes a car or a truck. You're like,
novelty wore off.
Right? The novelty's worn off and you're like, well, I've got the thing. I'm not necessarily sure I'm happier. So like, what are your expectations around those big dreams? And I think that, you know, mainstream self-help and all of these things have really like sold us on this consumer model of what it is to create a big dream. And I realized that there's so much crap packed into that concept, and that it takes a whole lot more to create a different reality. Now, I'm certainly not saying that you shouldn't wish for a different future. You shouldn't dream about something different. You shouldn't dream about, you know, wanting more or bigger, but be very careful about how you do it and manage your expectations around it. And also recognize that these kinds of things are not done alone, right? Like if you could have accomplished those dreams on your own, you would have already. Yep. And that's the benefit of having a community of people who understand how to dream realistically and understand how to take those next steps, and having a coach in your corner to be like, okay, so Marcie, you want to lose 100 pounds, right? Like, what if we could? And what if the next step was just eating every 2 to 3 hours and drinking 64 ounces of water today? What if, right? So they can help you break down that big dream into that's like, what is going to happen today to make that a possibility? I think the other thing that we get sucked into is the expectation of how long it's going to take, right? Like, I want all the things tomorrow. Today. Realistically, yesterday, but since that didn't happen and today's almost over, I'm going to say tomorrow.
Yeah. We're the instant gratification society, you know, and, you know, that comes down to discouragement reigns, you know, queen in our world. And because we don't get instant gratification. And I think it comes down to living up to a realistic, and this goes back to what you were saying, is, you know, do we have realistic expectations of what we're achieving? And do we know why what we're trying to achieve is so daggum important? Remember that we were talking about that 7 layers deep a while back. And I have to do that all the time. Like, okay, I want this. Why is that important to me? Well, why is that important to me? You know, and keep breaking it down into every answer has a why. And so that was really enlightening and really encouraging. Is like, hey, bottom line, whatever it is I'm doing, no matter what it is, my health, my money, my mind, it's all important to me because ultimately it means that I'm in control. And being in control of my life is very important to me.
That's amazing. Well, and really that's what it all comes down to is what can you actually control in order to make that a reality? And there's also, you know, for me, for the longest time, this is a huge epiphany that I just had in my own personal health journey, was the fact that ever since I was a teenager, I was comparing like my body to some girl in Self magazine, right? So like her body was what got cut out and put on my wall. And at that time, I didn't have the foresight to probably recognize that she's probably 5'1" and, you know, normally a size 0 under good conditions, which is, it's not reality, right? It's a total fantasy. And so no matter how hard I worked, how much I dieted, how immaculate I took care of my body, it was never going to be that. And so that fantasy of that big dream of what I wanted for myself wasn't based in reality at all. And so no matter what I did, I would never be able to accomplish that, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things that go into like dreaming big and doing it right versus like just buying into the bullshit of like, I'm going to look like that 19-year-old in Self magazine and I'm 37 and had 2 kids and I'm probably 6 inches taller than she is. Like, let's reframe that dream of, you know, what exactly does Jessica look like on her very best day? How does she feel? Not the girl in the magazine, right? And so that's another huge
that can be a whole comparison trap game. That's what
Absolutely.
that is. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let me just wrap this up by saying that in general, dreaming big is bullshit unless you've got steps to connect the bridge. If you release your expectations around what it's going to be when you achieve that big dream, if you have a rich community of people that are walking with you every step of the way, because I guarantee current reality to big dream is not a straight line. It is not a straight line. And also, let me give you permission to allow that dream to shift and to change along the journey. Just because you put it on your vision board doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're like, you know, maybe I'm not a boat person. Maybe I don't actually want a boat. What I actually want is the feeling that I get when I'm sitting on a boat. So how about I just make friends with a lot of people that have boats? Right?
As boat maintenance is high.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like give yourself permission to allow those big dreams to shift and change as you learn and grow in your personal journey. And on that note, is there anything else you guys would like to add before we wrap up?
This one quote from 2 years ago sticks out at me. I think it was that I may have it backwards. I'd have to pull it back up. It was like a goal is a dream with his work boots on.
Oh yeah. I love that quote.
Remember that one?
I do.
And I always remember that. It's like, well, whenever I'm dreaming, I have to be really careful not to dream in a way that becomes a wish list, like fairy dust. I have to dream in a way, am I going to realistically be able to attain it? And if there's an obstacle in my way, how can I?
Yeah. Amen. That's probably another piece of this dream big is we've all been sold the Disney version, right? Of the rags to riches and the white, right, you know, prince on the white horse and he's going to rescue me. And, you know, we've got it's all fantasy, right? It's this fantasy based big dreaming versus bringing some reality to it. Because you can't have a husband on a white horse swoop in and save you. Because if you put work boots on that, like what kind of work are you going to do to make that happen? Mm-hmm. Maybe you need to go get a job at Disney.
True that.
Right?
True that.
Awesome, you guys. You guys are amazing. Thanks for hanging in with us. We always love chatting with you guys and chatting with each other. And we can't wait till next week. Truth Bomb Tuesday has a YouTube channel, Badass Love on YouTube. So go check that out if you're craving more Truth Bomb Tuesday. And if there's something specific you guys would like us to rip up, put it in the comments. We would be more than happy to drop some truth around whatever comes to your mind. And we will see you next time.